question would be, Professor, um, do we need robots? Aren't we enough for each other as humans? Do we need really robots? And why robots specifically?
Yeah, it's an interesting question because there is this kind of way in which you ask this of any technology, like, do we really need this thing, right? And you could say it of social media. Do we really need social media? You could say it of radio. Do we really need radio or telephone, right? I think every technology has gone through this kind of self-reflection. What's its purpose? Why is it here? Do we really need it? And that's a very instrumentalist question, right? It asks about what is the instrumental means that's available to us with a particular technology. What's the end that it serves? And it's important to ask that question. But at the same time, there is something about just human ingenuity that oftentimes doesn't respond to these pragmatic questions. Sometimes people do things because it's interesting. There's been this desire, I think, in human history to create things that emulate us, right? Beginning with the ancients and moving, through the modern period. And there is something that drives us to create these works of art, if we want to call it these, because techne in Greek is the same root of our word technology, and it's an art, right? So there's a way in which artistry and technology are very much connected in the Greco-Roman tradition. So in some cases, yeah, it serves a purpose. In other cases, it is a expression of human creativity and human ingenuity that maybe doesn't serve an immediate instrumentalist purpose or a utilitarian purpose, but allows us to think in ways that we, maybe didn't before. I think thinking is done in making. Right? We often think about philosophy as being a heady enterprise where you just sort of think about things. But I think there's a hands-on philosophy. I think there is a way in which we think through concepts by building and creating. And one of the things I like to do with my students is a lot of maker exercises, because I think when they are doing something hands-on that's practical, a lot of these ideas that I think they would find important to think about doesn't resonate for them when they read the text, but it resonates for them when they build something. And I think this is just the human condition. It's the way that we work with our hands and our head. And one of the reasons why we have robots is that we're trying to figure ourselves out. I mean, our technologies are mirrors. We see ourselves reflected back to us in our technology. And so we create to understand who we are and what our place in the world is. And whether or not that creation has a utility that can, serve coffee to our grandparents or, help care for our children, that's an additional question, but I think that's not the only question that has to be asked. I think there's a bigger metaphysical reason that we do these things.